Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here. This time doing another Christmas review, and this one is on Christmas Carol the movie. Now, as you know, Christmas Carol the movie is a 2001 British live action animated film that was based on Charles Dickens' book from 1843 known as A Christmas Carol. And keep in mind, yeah, Christmas Carol the movie is basically one of those Christmas Carol movies where it's going to be a little different, but being a little more unique. And the premise of the film is meant to follow in 1867, where we see how Charles Dickens arrives in a theatre in Boston on a snowy night to tell a story of a Christmas Carol. And we do kind of see how, yeah, even near the end of the film, he does admit he did take some creative liberties. And the premise of the film is meant to follow on Victorian England on Christmas Eve, where we see how the rich money lender Ebenezer Scrooge pretty much has his sort of criminal client, Old Joe, arrest guilt, pretty much arrest debt-ridden clients, and we see how, yeah, one of them being Dr. Lambert, who's helping up with Tiny Tim, ends up getting arrested. And you do see how, yeah, Scrooge's old love interest, Belle, sees what the kind of man Scrooge has become and does try to talk some reason into him. And we do kind of see how, yeah, Scrooge ends up being visited by three ghosts, the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. And I think what the film gets right at is actually doing a bit more creative stuff with A Christmas Carol, but still making some things their own. Like, yeah, kind of having it that even though Ebenezer Scrooge was allowed to see his father for Christmas, it was clear that he still wanted to try and ship him out to Fezziwink to see if he could kind of make a name for himself. And I kind of give the film also credit is seeing how, yeah, Scrooge's old love interest, Belle, is a little older, but we still see how she tries to help people in her own way. And her being much older, wiser, and hoping that Scrooge might be able to see reason despite it being a lost cause. And I think what the opening gets right is showing how Ebenezer Scrooge arrests other um clients that were in debt, showing no concern for his actions. And I think what the film does get right at is that, yeah, near the end, where he does try to mend everything that he's done, the film makes it clear that the damage he's done might be irreversible, but he is still going to try to be a better person. And I like how even basically Charles Dickens admits that he did take some creative liberties in his sort of like theatre story when he did the sort of story of A Christmas Carol. And this does remind me of George Lucas when he did the special edition of the Star Wars films. And sometimes being a writer, director, or a kind of movie fan shows that, yeah, you want to improve your work, show that you do better, but you also want to kind of do a kind of much better version of what you intended. And I think what they do get right at with the Christmas Ghosts is, yeah, I like how the first Christmas Ghost has a kind of outfit like a sort of Greek handmaid, but I like how they do keep her close to what I think the Ghost of Christmas Past should be, like this kind of candle-like being. I like how the Ghost of Christmas Present is what I think the Ghost of Christmas Present should be, this joyful, humble person, and the Ghost of Yet to Come being like this grim Reaper-like figure. And I think what the film does right at is that, yeah, when you kind of got the two mice guiding Scrooge throughout his redemption, is him witnessing his chance for redemption, but you do see one of the mice playing a crucial role at the start of the story Jacob Marley, basically Charles Dickens kind of working the mouse into his story, but him using it for his own element. And it's like a writer using their pet, their friend, or their child to be a character for their own story. And that's the point of being a writer, is that you want to base your pet, your friend, your story, what you've been through, for an element for your own story. And I think what's actually interesting is, yeah, they actually get Nicolas Cage to play the role for Jacob Marley. And I think what they got right with Jacob Marley is making him this ghostly being, but not making it like too over the top. And I think what the animation gets right at is playing it like this kind of picture book like story, but they're still making it their own. They still know how to blend the elements of a slum, depressing state of a Victorian England, but know how to keep the story of A Christmas Carol alive. And I think what's actually interesting is, yeah, when you do see Scrooge trying to change, it's him thinking about the possible outcomes and what might happen if he fails to properly change. And I think that's something we never really will get with most enforced redemption stories. But here, I actually think they do it well. You do see Scrooge wanting to do better, and him sort of removing his friends like Old Joe and trying to do better and remove the toxic people in his life is him finally accepting the person he now wants to be. And I actually do think Christmas Carol the movie is a good film, taking some creative liberties, because, yeah, it's much like what Charles Dickens says, is that, yeah, changing some things in your story shows that you want to do better, you want to kind of remove what you thought didn't work, might have worked, or could have worked. So I think this film definitely deserves thumbs in the middle. It's good, not bad, but still enjoyable. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.